Good morning, everyone. It's me, Marcy. I'm live in my kitchen this morning. One of my favorite things to feel prepared is to have chicken breasts cooked and in the fridge and ready to go for a quick salad in a jar, a quesadilla, a chicken salad. The most flavorful way that I've ever found to cook chicken breasts is in cast iron. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I find that I'm way less likely to grab a snack of crackers or chips. If there's chicken breasts cooked and ready to go in the fridge, I can just grab one of those and be on my merry way. So I was at Walmart the other day and I picked up some chicken breasts. This is the cheapest way that I find them in my area. They're $10 a kilogram if you buy two, and they're about a kilogram per package. So if you hunt, you might find one that's a little bit more than a kilogram in weight, so even better value that way. But even more valuable than that, they have great best before dates on them. So I buy it and I know how long it can sit in the fridge before it needs to be cooked or frozen. So I always have fresh chicken on hand. So today I'm going to cook my chicken in my cast iron skillet. I love cast iron. It's not very surprising that what's old has come new again. The cookware industry has had considerable advances in cookware, introducing nonstick. The ease of clean is amazing in nonstick, but it's not surprising that it comes at the expense of some of the quality of food, really. So if you're cooking craft dinner and canned soup and things like that, then nonstick is for you. It really does make a difference in how easy it cleans up. But if you're trying to develop really deep, rich, lovely flavors and layers of flavor and put a really nice sear on your meat, things like that, then cast iron is for you. And somewhere in the middle is going to be stainless. So the ease of cleanup of nonstick is lovely. You need a nonstick skillet to get your eggs out of the pan, things like that. But I find that I'm doing most of my cooking now in cast iron because it is so responsive and it's induction ready. I have an induction stove and it works on my induction stove, as does stainless. So what we find with cast iron, the reason it's so effective is because the grain is so loose. That means that the molecules are really far apart, and when you put it on the stove to heat up, it takes a little bit to heat up. Okay, it takes longer than other pots, but then it's going to stay hot for longer once the heat is gone. And so that is really helpful when you think about, I'm going to preheat this pan and then I'm going to put a chicken breast in it, and that chicken breast isn't going to drop the temperature of the pan. It's going to keep pumping heat out for as long as we need it to, and it's going to stay effective on both sides of the chicken because I'm going to cook both sides and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. Okay, so it's kind of like insulation that way, like pink insulation, all those little spaces. It really insulates your house from the heat. But if your house gets hot, then it also insulates it from cooling off, right? So that's what we find is that a cast iron pan stays hot for almost ever. It takes a little longer to heat up, but it stays hot forever, and that's super helpful in developing those really deep flavors. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the stove. I'm going to get it heating up here. I'm going to put it to, about 7 out of 10. I'm going to put just a drop of good olive oil in there. Now our cast iron pans do come pre-seasoned, so they're ready to go. They don't need any special treatment. Cast iron, of course, doesn't like water, so when you clean it, you're just going to cool it. You're going to put it in the sink and clean it with hot water and dry it and put it away. You're not going to really excessively soap it to really remove that seasoning, and you're definitely not going to soak it. You're going to scrub it and put it away. But it's not going to be that dirty, to be honest. Okay, so let's get on to our chicken. I've got 4 breasts here. I think I'll start by cooking 2. And whenever I cook chicken, no matter how I do it, I always cut them in half with my closing cut. So when you get chicken breasts, you'll see that they always have a fat end and a skinny end, and if you cook them till the fat end is done, the skinny end will be dry, okay? So the closing cut is perfect for splitting anything you like, you know, a whole plate of cherry tomatoes, a bagel, things like that. But if you had one just for chicken breasts, it wouldn't be a waste. So the gray plates push back so that whatever I have on them, the split is still going to be half, okay? So you need to have a knife that's 8 inches or longer. It comes with this one. Make sure it's nice and sharp. And you just push this down and saw your way through. And then you have 2 perfect thin chicken breasts that are gonna cook really fast, nice and even. They're gonna be delicious. Okay, so no matter how I cook chicken, whether it's barbecue or microwave or in the oven, any way I do, I always cut it this way. So serving a half a chicken breast, you know, like a whole chicken breast is pretty big. Serving a half of one, if you don't cut them this way first, you know, it just kind of looks like a blob on your plate. But cutting them this way, it still looks like a chicken breast. So I'm a big fan of doing it this way. I use this all the time, probably 4 nights a week, on chicken, on those fat pork chops from Costco, on a whole plate of cherry tomatoes or grapes, bagels, of course. So lots of things. And how do you clean this? So I would put a sink full of hot soapy water, and I would take my cloth and press down on it so that I can clean, you know, inside, under the water, and then I just put it in the dishwasher on the top rack. So it's easy to maintain. So now I've got my chicken breasts cut. I'm gonna season them with my crushed peppercorn and garlic. So this is I'll show you before my hands get dirty. It's a nice coarse, you know, big peppercorns, nice coarse salt, and some garlic and other stuff. And it's a very generic seasoning. You can use it on a lot of things. It's like a really nice Montreal steak spice. And I use it on every bit of beef that I cook. No matter how I'm cooking beef, I use this. It's the only thing I use on a prime rib. It's nice on pork chops, those really skinny fast fry ones. It's really good on those. I use it on a Greek salad. You know, I use it just about everywhere, and I mean, I use enough of it that I have a container for it. So 2 bottles fits in the container, and my little Tupperware container, and I do use it. A lot of it is one I always keep on hand. So that's all I'm gonna do to season them is really, it's just like salt and pepper with a bit of a boost, okay? So looking at the pan, it's starting to smoke, so that means it's smoking hot, I guess. And so I'm just gonna pop these in, and I'm going to let it cook for, I don't know, a minute or 2 on each side. And then I'm gonna pop the whole thing into the oven so that it can more gently the heat can more gently work its way to the middle. So what I hope to hear is the sizzle. Let's see if we can hear the sizzle. Oh, good. It's nice and hot. Now I've got those in the pan. I'm gonna leave them alone for a minute, okay? If I tried to sort of scoot it around in the pan right now, they would stick like glue and I would have a mess. But what's gonna happen is as they cook, the meat is going to naturally release itself from the pan. That's why the pan is preheated. If you put this in a cold pan, this will not happen. But because it's a hot pan, the meat is going to cook on the edge. It's going to naturally release itself from the pan. The heat is going to instantly caramelize the natural sugars in the outside of the chicken. And right now, we're creating layers of flavor. So the intense flavor that's being created right now by searing the outside of this pan in cast iron, not in nonstick cookware, the flavor is going to be deep and rich and amazing and almost sweet, okay? So this is a result that you can expect from cast iron in general, just because it stays so hot. And when I put the chicken in, it didn't reduce in temperature. It's still just pumping the heat. So after I have cooked both sides for a minute or two per side. I have the oven heated up now to 350. So I'm going to take the pan and I'm going to just pop it right into the oven, about the middle of the oven, and I'm going to cook it until the meat is 160 degrees, because chicken is safe to eat at 165, and we know that it will still increase in temperature after we take it out. All right, so let's see if it's time to turn yet. They are perfect. And can you hear? It's still sizzling when I put it back on the other side. So there's my 4 chicken breasts. The color of them is amazing. It's golden. The peppercorn garlic that I'm putting on is rehydrating. It's lovely. So there is a tiny bit of juice is coming out of it. And that's gonna even be great for a pan sauce after we're done. Have you ever made a pan sauce? So there won't be a ton of juice, but what there will be super concentrated and almost thick, you know, almost like not as thin as water, you know, it'll be almost a little bit thick. And all I'm gonna do to that is add, after I take the chicken breasts out, I'm gonna quickly add some butter, garlic and onions that are chopped nice and small, and I'll saute those for about 3 minutes. And then to that, I'm gonna add some chicken broth and a big old scoop of sour cream to thicken it, and then parsley if you wanna be fancy. And so now my chicken breasts that are resting on the plate, you know, now I can serve those with some steamed vegetables or whatever, and this pan sauce over top just elevates the flavor. Amazing. And you can make a pan sauce in a nonstick skillet. You know, like everything, there's good, better, and best, but the pan sauce made in a nonstick skillet will not even close to compare to the pan sauce that you make in a cast iron skillet. So I hope I've helped you understand why that happens. All right, so it looks to me like we've got a good sear on both sides. Do you want to have a look? Look at that, hey? It's completely raw in the middle, but both sides are cooked and ready to go. So I'm going to take my instant read thermometer. It has the remote probe. I'm going to pop this into the thickest part of one of the breasts, and then I'll be able to keep the display on the outside of the oven while this goes in. I'll be able to easily see when the temperature gets to 160 degrees, which is prime to take it out of the oven. Alternatively, after you've done this a few times, you will be able to just poke the chicken and feel when the density is right. Okay, so at first, if you want to take the temperature, the worst thing we can do right now is overcook our chicken. Okay, when these are finished, they should be completely juicy, full of flavor, and ready to eat now or to put in the fridge to use during the week. Okay, so I'm going to use my little mini mitts here, which I use for everything. I'm going to pop this into the oven. The oven is hot. And I'll turn this on. We can see that right now they are 75 degrees. So as soon as, oh no, it's popping up. It's 128 degrees. So really that's probably going to be, what do you think, 4 minutes before it's at 160. And so then when it comes out at 160, they'll just rest for a few minutes while I make that pan sauce. So I don't know if you like to have meat pre-cooked in the fridge. I feel far more prepared when I have some chicken breasts ready to go for a quick salad in a jar or a quesadilla, or even a meal in the summertime, even a meal. So this is just going to cook itself here. Oh, we're already at 136. I wonder if I should just wait. If we wait until it's 160, I can show you what it looks like when it comes out. So your cast iron skillet, this is my 12-inch. I cook for a family of 5, and so a 12-inch skillet suits us just fine. It comes with a pan scraper, because when you go to clean your cast iron, you're going to want to just let it come to room temperature. So when it comes out of the oven, if you have things stuck to it, which you very well could, the best way to deal with that right away is to deglaze the pan. Okay, so you would add some liquid and let it come to a quick boil. Because cast iron stays so hot for so long, you know, it'll always come to a really quick boil when you add a little bit of liquid. And you can just take something flat and scrub the bottom just a little bit. All those little bits are going to be gold when you're making that pan sauce. So I would encourage you to do that for sure, because the pan sauce will taste better, but also because it'll be easier to clean. So then after you've cooled your pan, all you do is fill it with hot water. I don't even use soap. Fill it with hot water. It comes with a little pan scraper, and you just scrub everything off, and then you'd rinse it and you dry it and you put it away. You don't soak it and you don't soap it. Okay, so it does come pre-seasoned, so you're going to have no extra preparation. You know, as soon as you get it, you can use it. And we do have instructions for re-seasoning your pan on our YouTube channel. If you come to a time when, you know, at some point you may need to re-season your pan, but it's not necessary to ever put extra oil in it to store it or anything like that. We're definitely cleaning our cast iron. We're just not using soap. It's very similar to stoneware in that regard. Okay, so we are getting close here. All right, we're at about 158, so I'm just gonna open it up and see what the density feels like. Yep, they are good. All right, so I'll get a mat here. Oh, they are sizzling. Terrific. Okay, so I want to show you what they look like. Oh, perfectly juicy. Can you see the juice sparkling there? And the edges are browned, they're caramelized, they are seasoned. All of these stages have added another layer of flavor. And in the pan, there is very little juice, just like I said. It all stayed in the chicken where it belongs. But to this, I could add some butter, scrape off the bottom, you know, to incorporate all the stuck-on bits, the fond, into my pan sauce. But while I'm sauteing the onions and garlic, then of course I'll add some chicken broth and some chicken broth and a dollop of sour cream to thicken it, and then parsley if I want to be fancy. So that's all there is to it. It's not surprising that what's old has come new again, but cast iron definitely has a big piece of my heart. So I hope you're making good use out of yours. We'll talk soon again, everybody.